shift, wooden cylinder with brass programming. As you can imagine, the programming on a spinet doesn't resemble that of a musical box. It resembles that of an organ, longer and shorter bridges, and to keep off the pegs and dampen the notes. And it may be that it's not perfectly in tune. You might dreadful mistake thinking you're Americans. And Americans, I must watch out, of course, but I mean, they wouldn't sort of go for this sort of thing. But it's not that bad. I'll give you Great Britain in its late case with the Allemande, the Queen's Allemande. Just give a bit of. There are 4 springs combined in 2 iron spring barrels with a big gut fusee line to a wooden fusee. It's a damn heavy thing. Well, anyway, there you are. I hope you realize how wonderful these instruments could play when they were first made. And here it is. Automatic Music 1580. Come closer if you like. This is an Allemande, a dance in a stately 4/4 time. Here also the music is the warning, as it were. Is dat Nederlands? Ja. Om 11:30 begint daar nog opleiding. Ja. Now, for the rest, I think we're not going to pay too much attention to this development, but musical clocks were made all over the world. And just to give you an idea of an extremely cheap and extremely vulnerable musical clock, that because of its vulnerability and primitiveness is so rare, is a clock like this. Nothing but wood and glass, and the Black Forest producing thousands and tens of thousands of musical clocks also produced this glass glöckchen type. You can imagine this is, of course, hors d'oeuvre for the woodworms, and at the same time, bronze was expensive and it was a poor country, so glass was abundantly available, and little wooden clappers, wooden wheels, wooden axles, and even then, these glasses are original. There is one glass that seems to be nibbled at by a rat or so, but that is for tuning. It apparently was too low and you nibble around and the tune goes up. I'll just give you an idea of, I'm going to wind it in a rather unorthodox way. But of course I hope you know that I'm trying to make up for my initial blunder by, here we are. Come closer if you like. It's very pleasant music. Well, there you are. If
not many of those survive. Not many of those survive.
No, these are extremely rare.
Yeah.
Actually, this is not. It's a sort of, you know, it's very Teutonic to me. It's a sort of bum, bum, boom, bum, bum, you know, as the Germans will. There are no Germans here, I think. Well, as you say, so you know. Romantic period. I'm feeling the hot breath of the next group in my neck, so I think I should play straight away a clock. If you come closer here, you will see the mid-18th century formula. This clock, we know it was a gift of George II of Great Britain, the second Hanover king, Night, Holy Night, which is really dreadful. Not this, that song, of course, but that cannot be on an 18th century clock. So you have to make sure that it's the original cylinder. Well, here is a Gigue by Handel, Georg Friedrich Handel, and here is the music. Do come closer again, there is a lot to be seen here. You see, there is a lot going on. There's an endless chain. I mean, from foot and mouth disease point of view, this is not awfully successful. Sheep, dogs. You see, it plays very well. There are 10 melodies and 4 root or otherwise. This way, please. No. That's not great. Well, there it is. Made in Germany. I think, Luc, weet jij hoe dit ding aan moet?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll keep this for the next hour or so. Fine introduction. call that a flirtour, which is, you know, people always think that's the word. You know, why call something a flirtour if the clock comes from England and stands in Holland? And you know, these German words are rather, I think the word organ clock is the best word. This is a string playing clock, or as Germans would call it, a harfenuhr, not a hakbrett. And that is really the small variety that are musically not so interesting. The scale is quite enormous of these clocks. 4 octaves, C, D, E, and then fully chromatic. And the top 2 octaves have double hammers for quick repetition. You can pull out cylinders on this side, and the clock doesn't look much. I don't think the shape is very pleasant. But what obviously has happened is that this Mr. Otzen, who has inscribed his name here, actually, do come a bit closer, I'll show you something. I think it's so clear what has happened. There is, Otzen was indeed a clockmaker in Schleswig. Not an awfully good one, I think. And of course, apparently, say around 1760 or so, the great guy of Schleswig, you know, Count so-so, said, Otzen, come here, I would like to have a clock. My friend in Berlin has a similar thing. And Otzen says, yes, I'll make that clock. Why does he say that? Because he can earn a bit of money. That's, you know, why did Handel program such a, or Mozart, such a small formula of 2 octaves? Because it brings in money. That was the simple reason. These clocks were always owned by rich people. So Otzen was rather more, I think, an organizer than a clockmaker. He gets hold of an apparently fine English clock. You see the strident silent and delightful sort of what Kai is here engraving. And with the end of a sort of old screwdriver inscribes his name. It's really dreadful the way this is done there. Yeah, if you have a good close look. But, and the case was apparently made in Schleswig, he had the good fortune, I think, to turn to Berlin for the music work. And there, amongst others, was Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, one of the very important sons of Johann Sebastian, working there in the mid and third quarter of the 18th century, and writing music for these clocks, simply again because he could earn a bit of money then. I'd like to give you a minuet of Bach on this clock, and again, it's probably not perfectly tuned. You know what happens, you tune the thing, you turn on the heater and the tuning has gone already. But they're very delightful to hear. Here's one of them, our minuets. If you'd like to have a look in here, you step up there. You can see where you pull out the cylinder. Lovely piece, isn't it? Wonderful. You see, I can pull this towards me, pull out the cylinder, and shove in another cylinder. Yes. You see, this is the shifting, the changing of the cylinder. It's quite delightful each hour having such a concert as this. Ja, hier kunt u zien hoe je de rol erachter kunt halen. It's quite long for one revolution only. I think it takes 110 seconds or so. Ja, hier. That was a minuet. And it sounds also impressive because of the organ point notes. At the lowest pipe, that long, at certain moments it lasts, the bridge is almost half of the cylinder. So there is, if I play an organ, I just hold my foot down, and there is a double counterpoint sort of curling around it. Here it is. You hear the bass note continuing. You have, in fact, a small organ, in this case, on a false set of drawers, and the drawers have, as you can imagine, all the cylinders which I can pull out. The cylinders are of two types. There is the type which I can knife down, melody 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's done here, but there is a sort of branching off thing here, and that means that certain cylinders have a central pivot sticking out with a screw. So that means the organ can both play long screw-programmed melodies and short ones. The organ was made between 1746. Because here, for instance, says March in Judas Maccabeus. Judas Maccabeus had its premiere in Great Britain in that year, so the organ couldn't be older than that. And the organ couldn't be older than 1761, the year in which George Pike, the maker, died. And here is one of his original cylinders. This scale is 2 octaves, and the C sharp and D, I think, and I show this way. 4 stops, stopped 8 foot, octave, super octave, and a flute. And I have to select by hand. Very simple dance melodies. I think this came from Woburn Abbey, from the attic sale. The little Bedfords may have been dancing about on this melody in their garden or so, and it's especially interesting because of the ornamentation of the music. Very ornamented, delightful music. Extremely simple. Here is the, what is it on? Here we have the Duke of Gloucester's March. Sounds very British to me. Here we go. Clear ringing sound, and as far as you can see here, a typical cylinder with 10 titles, but here the 5th barrel, only 1 title, so that means a screw notation. It's an Imhoff and Moukle of the 1860s. There is a big weight which I have to wind, which I will wind. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there is that. That's it. I think yes. The weight is fully encased. Now, how do I know that the weight is fully wound?
Look at the coil.
Well,
you can tell by the amount of rope on the drum.
Yeah, that's the way, but I might forget to look. No, there is a sticker outer from the weight, and there is a tiny bellows there with 1 little pipe on top. If the sticker outer, when pulling up the weight, pushes the little bellows up, the thing says, you know, and I should stop. Very efficient way of telling that you're wound up, if you start whistling, that is. Here we go. It's I think 80 kilos. It's a monstrous weight. It's climbing up in its shaft. Many things one does for Great Britain, isn't it? Yeah, there we are. I'll play a little, I think it's an Irish love song of sorts, and what I like especially is the richness in the variation, the interludes. You get this slow, delightful melody, and between the lines, all sorts of unplayable, at least with human hands, unplayable interludes. Of course, it's a helical notation. Again, those of you who want to step over and have shove their heads in the machine, do so, and I'll play it. It is Great Britain, 1861. leave Schipholhoi for the time being, and we're going to be bring some out organ in the mid-18th century, and just as a test case we made some programs of that organ, but made it for, transcribed it to this organ. So here's Leopold Mozart with a minuet for Salzburg, 1752, but played on the gavioli. And the rest of that story, the other organs will then come in the afternoon. Other experienced organ grinders, because it's a bit of a job really to, then please come behind the organ and I'd be very happy if you help me out turning the wheel. Yeah? Would you like to, please? Who steps forward to help turn the wheel? Because it's yes? You find this way? Actually, Ron, I think you should start that way. Now, Ron, you start and then you take over. Yeah?
This will be Wagner's Learned Room.
actually 10,000 pounds. And the restoration, because it wasn't paid awfully well, the restoration was done here. There again, there is the case maker, organ maker. My specific task is the balance, the pinning, and I think, well, this of course not original in the old days, wind, it still can be done there, but we've lowered for, well, because it eases up things. It is a so-called finger and barrel organ, and maybe if you'd like. This is the shifting lever for choosing. You see, it's the whole revolver system shifting around, shifting about. And here I can select my stops, 8 foot, 8 and 4 foot, or 8, 4 and 2 foot, or octave and 15th as you say. So this is the soft 8 foot. What I can do, of course, we can have a quatre mains. I'll play at the keys because, of course, here, this is the other. And you give the Philips Paganini in exchange. Then I said, of course, I couldn't. I mean, I'm not allowed to do that sort of thing. And the museum will never sell things. With one or two exceptions, you know, suppose you have a polyphone disc player, afterwards you get a second one, absolutely identical, and a third one pops up for some reason, and all of a sudden you find yourself with 3 identical disc boxes. And then I can get allowance. Of course, not the thing that's given, you should never give that away, but you may then sell an instrument, but only in order with the money to acquire a new instrument, not to pay the gas bill or something with it. So, well, we'll make, it's still can be fully wind operated by bellows. Then I need 4 people treading bellows. Free reeds, and it really sounds hardly better than an ordinary harmonium. So this is Germany, Black Forest, 1880 or so. But look at the... You have to look at Well, and it ends in the dominant instead of the tonic I here. Well, there it is.
It's fine.
All right. In the Gasparini firm in Paris, but here again, Carl Frey, who very often in Breda in Holland, had to make music for this formula of 52 key, was a great master in overcoming all the problems of the very limited scale. I'll give you a Carl Frey notation of the 30s on this organ, which of course is earliest, the first decade of the 19th century. So Carl Frey on a 52 key Gasparini. I have a waltz here, Vieni sul mar. It's tia ya da da dum, ya la la la, ti da da da. Well, you know the thing. I'll play it.
We tune out of words.
Sorry for that.
Something new.
The asking price was then, in pounds, about £20,000. And I said to the gentleman who sold it, who was intended to sell it, and who wanted it to be in the museum, I said, I will offer £4,000, and I have a very good reason to do that, because we will spend much more than £20,000 on it, because the organ was in a dreadful state, worm-eaten and fully collapsed, but it hadn't been tampered with, and that of course is also important. I will play a typical Carl Frey formula, which is in this case an ode to the Amsterdam canals, where also you will hear the carillon, these very small pipes with a very dominant minor third, which gives a carillon sound. If I do this, the carillon plays. It really sounds like little bells playing, and you'll get the sound of, well, you should listen to this, and then you'll get it in more perfection on that organ. But here are the Amsterdam canals set by Carl Frey for the 70 key. This is a 70 key organ, typical large street formula, and I'll put it on. And very happy with these motors. You know, that made a lot of noise still there. And this is really good, I think.
Yeah, makes me feel.
Watch it, I'm beautiful this is. That's great. dédain. Is that a word? Well, anyway, he didn't care for what an organ would look like. If I speak in English terms, I would think back of your late 17th century, where you had Renatus Harris as an organ builder and Father Smith, and it was especially, I think, Father Smith who used to say, "My pipes may look like the devil, I'll make them speak like an angel." And the same goes for Carl Frey. Generally a great mess if you look in a Frey organ. All sorts of various types of pipe work. For even in a Schuifel, a set of metal pipes, and one of the pipes is a wooden pipe, because apparently he had lost the, but you can't hear the difference. He was such a great master in this intonation, and he was a builder, he made the organs, he was a composer, and he was an arranger. And as you can see, this organ looks rather dreadful, I think. This apparently comes from an organ. Mind you, we had the crisis years, the early 30s, and I think this has had a flute harmonique. This rather silly shape was probably put in because the flute got lost. The only expensive thing is that Henk Mulman got his initials here, and organ people would come in the shop of Carl Frey and say, "Now what does it cost?" And he would say, "Well, so and so much." And say, "Well, he has an old wind chest, and that would make a difference of another 50 pounds or so." And as I say, it looks like, well, it doesn't look like much, all these artistically very poor things. But it is a fine sound. I will play on this Frey organ a piece composed by Frey and set to various arrangements for his various organs, called the Golden Heart Serenade. It's a very romantic serenade, and one of the most famous serenades of Carl Frey. A slow 3/4 time. Just get the
Around there.
yeah.
A long way around.
Spanish dance, and because it shows off the organ quite well, it's a very powerful instrument, and I'm very fond of it myself. And here is Moskovsky with the Spanish dance. Organ work, of course, used to sit here. We put it there so that people can have a better look at it. I'm also playing because it's technically, I think, extremely interesting. And I'm playing it because I hope you'll all come back one day. And if you come back one day, then I may be playing the Haydn Esterhazy organ, which is far more important than this. It's the organ that Joseph Haydn programmed with specially composed music for that organ, an organ block of 1793. This then is a simple variety. What I like technically about it is that a small cylinder, you like to make use as much as you can of the cylinder, but you need first the pumping up of the bellows. In high quality work, and that goes already for the 1600s, but also here, there is the spring motor consisting of two separate movements. The clock says play. That means that both spring motors start, but the spring motor operating the barrel and nothing more, the small spring motor, then stops immediately and uses its first flick of turning to tell the pumping motor to start pumping. So the cylinder is stationary, it pumps till it's got sufficient wind, and then the pumping motor tells the spring motor for the barrel, go ahead. And which is very economical, although it costs a bit in the way of springs, wheels and chains and fusees and things. This is the formula Haydn and Handel, but especially Haydn, used 2 octaves on 1 or 2 stops only, and only 1 sharp, the F sharp. The rest is white notes. There, the clock operates this. Now you'll see this changing over. Stop, bumping, turn, music. Come closer, please do. The ornamentation is very beautiful. I'll change. Next melody. I'll this is 1787. We know it because we have the bill. It was made for the Earl of Shaftesbury by Spencer and Perkins. We also call it the Marks and Spencer clock. It is, another melody.
You have the bill. You have the bill.
Yes.
How much was it?
£110, which was a lot of money. Yeah. It was the year Mozart wrote Don Giovanni. Haydn was at Esterhazy, Bach had died, Handel had only just died, Beethoven was still wearing short trousers. Well, that's a little, it's in good condition, and it's nice to demonstrate because of the subtlety of execution and especially of the playing of ornaments. And I would like to play an Amsterdam organ, an organ in Amsterdam, the man who also built the first practical metronome. And I think he was really genius. This organ has only one wheel. There it is, a big wheel. The wheel is, in clockmaker's terms, the great wheel. The weight is attached, and the wheel drives directly a fly. That's most uncommon in clockwork. And either you're a fool or you're a genius when you do that. And I think Winkel was not a fool. There are two stops operated by one single key, the stop change. And what's on now, I'll just have a quick look. This is a cylinder of a then famous opera, the Zauberflöte, the magic flute of Mozart. And the playing on this cylinder is done by a shift, a lateral shift, as in any musical box. So you have 340 degrees it turns, then during the last 20 degrees it slides sideways. A musical box, of course, does not play then. But here, the music continues on a slanting line. And so it changes 7 times and then the cylinder moves back. First, the keys are lifted up by a little device. And it's only one wheel and fly. I think it's an absolute genius thing. You see here, I'm winding away. And here you get a little excerpt of the magic flute, which was then popular music to play. The magic flute was, as you know, was written in, I should know, I think in 1791, the year of Mozart's death, and the years thereafter, Mozart became very famous, unfortunately only after his death, and also in Amsterdam, where this organ stood. It was in fact a present to a very fine, noble family. I mean, always you would find them in the highest classes of people. Here's Mozart. Motive from the magic flute from Papageno. We have it, yeah. You see this device of the stop gauge, 2 lengths of this. Look. Just watch the thing. Now it's down. It's on its last line. Now it's on its last revolution. And there you see the keys being moved upwards and the cylinder shafts. Isn't it marvelous with one wheel and fly? I think we should go back to the museum cafe. Yeah. I had the luck to come across a German gentleman, Mr. King, not a very German name, but who had, I mean, these chaps existed at that time still. He had worked in the Philips factory up to the early 30s. And so I invited him from Aschaffenburg, where he lived, to come here. And I remember there was a sort of felt strip somewhere in the key frame which we didn't know how to handle. And I said, well, Herr King, was ist das bloß? What is that? And he said, das ist das Anti-Nikotin-Filter, the anti-nicotine filter, you know. You just don't think of such things. And of course, then there is a very complex thing, an organ also on the roof. And of course, you get the best sound when it's closed, because then the crescendi come out very beautifully. I wanted King to go also. Small man, he was about 80 years. And I said, now King, can you advise us? Here's a ladder. And he said, I think I'm not going to climb that ladder. And there we've got the guy, you know, all the way from Germany, and he's not going to have a look. And then I think then it comes to the point where you have to be, well, earn your money's worth as a museum chap. So I said, well, King, I think you're so right. Let's have a schnapps, you know, drink. And which I put in readiness. He said, not a bad idea. And after 5 schnapses, 45% alcohol, he said, King, you see that that's a problem. He said, oh, well, I'll have a look. And he, like a young monkey, he skipped up. So I felt I'd earned my day's wages. And I don't know what's on at the moment. What I suggest to do is open the whole thing up, and when it's playing at some moment, well, could you possibly help me? You know, we will then put back the whole thing. Then you get a better sort of overall idea. But it's also interesting to see the rest of what we've done. We are quite proud of it. You know, it's a job we weren't awfully sort of good at, but we did our best. So I'll first unmantle the thing. This is not original, this lamp. That used to be an open mercury switch, but the fire brigade, who have not much cultural sense in there, sort of turned that down, and we had to replace that. It's the only replace. For the rest, it's a good instrument, and I think it's, contrary to that, for instance, it's a very refined instrument. I think it has got 130 something notes. Yes, 100, which means a very fine notation and a very fine tracking it has to do. enormous amount of possibilities, high quality made. If you pick it up there, just lift it up, that's it. And now we walk there, and we'll put it, yes, turn that way, that's it. And we'll put it just on this side for a moment. Yes, that's it. I can't, I don't know what song. It's apparently halfway. We'll just see. Of course, it picks up a roll. Then I can put it on play continuously, and you can shove in all the, well, Beethoven symphonies or whatnot, and it will be busy all day without any interference. I get quite nervous myself. So much can go wrong. I think. Well, no. Possibly. Yes, now we need to. What was that?
Your light flashes on.
Was that light doing something?
It flashed on and then went out.
Uh-huh.
And makes a funny noise.
There's a relay not working
I do
properly.
get a funny noise, yes. Now, I'll put that in.
Thank you.
Look, it's now rolling back, and then it will pick up another roll. See this? And then it will rotate the cylinder into the next position. Would you like to hear one other tune? Let's see. Just let it wind up.
Also recovering the piece.
Also, classical music is fantastic on this instrument. delivered by the organ to show off its march-like qualities. So for fourth time from the Luminaire factory, it's a Luminaire book having a similar organ on it. Nice and deep, heavy ornaments, and the only thing I think are really dreadful are these
Lady faces.
Yeah, quite honestly, I once had a dream that I woke up in bed and finding it, you know, and it was not my wife, and you know, and then you wake really up with big beads of sweat. It's particularly this nasty looking, sort of, you know, squiggly looking. Well, there you are. Anyway, it's, they could come from some sort of Valkyrie thing from here is a very fine organ, I think, with beautiful reeds also. And all of a sudden then, you know, he apparently gets laid in properly and, how do you say that, and, you know, ultimately the rhythm one, they get on like anything. And,
Very good.
and the general sense of being among equal fools, as I said this morning, is absolutely wonderful. So thank you very much again for having come here and having, do you know, we are hopping around in this collection already for almost something like, what is it, 6 hours or so. It's quite incredible. And well, there it is. Thank you for the lovely day, and I hope to see you back. I will still be at the cafe. Those who want a visiting card or any, since I've been in Japan, I'm quick in giving cards.